If you have been a fan of the Virginia football program for the last 25 years, names like Barber, Poindexter, Jones, Kirby, and more are just some of the more familiar to have graced Scott Stadium. But if you go back another 25 years, you'll find the names of the 4 players who broke a huge color barrier in Charlottesville and helped make the last half century possible.
Last year, the Virginia Cavaliers made appearances in the ACC title game and the Orange Bowl, and finally broke their long losing streak against Virginia Tech. 50 years ago, the UVA program was nowhere near as prominent.
UVA wasn't a powerhouse, or it wasn't a household name back in the day.
Back in 1970, George Blackburn was about to begin his 6th and final season as head coach of the Cavaliers. He had only one winning season during his tenure, and none of the 4 coaches who preceded him, going all the way back to the Korean War, had winning overall records either. It wasn't an attractive option for some of the better high school players in the Commonwealth.
I had no real thoughts about going to school there. I really had no real thoughts about going to school at all.
Virginia wasn't really attractive to us. I mean, Virginia didn't win.
Kent Merritt was an all-district and all-state running back from Lane High School in Charlottesville. He was recruited by schools like Penn State, North Carolina, and Tennessee, and had his choice of scholarship offers. In the end, the decision was pretty much made for him.
My parents were a big influence on getting me to come here because I mean, the average kid would be looking to go to a established program, and UVA had none. At their urging, I decided to come here.
Likewise, Stan Land, John Rainey, and Harrison Davis were all-state performers who had multiple options for college. All 4 chose to go to UVA and make history in the process. 50 years ago, they were the first African-American scholarship athletes to play football for the Cavaliers.
We came to play sports and athletics. All right, we didn't really come to do anything earth-shattering, and we thought we could at least improve the program while we were here.
We just wanted to go somewhere and play football and win football games. We weren't so much aware, I don't think, of what we were doing until after we graduated, really.
Back then, freshmen were not eligible to play on the varsity team, but once the 4 got to that level, they began to contribute and become part of the program. Not that there weren't hurdles and constant reminders that their trailblazing wasn't always celebrated or desired.
People were nice, but you knew in the background, people said, okay, we're not ready for this. People weren't ready for it.
After a touchdown, they had a rebel flag that they waved in the stands, and they played Dixie and that sort of thing.
I can recall having a spirited wrestling match with one of the other players during one of the drills that we were doing. He decided that he wanted to use a word that I didn't particularly like, and so around and around we went.
Harrison Davis, our quarterback, he caused the brunt of it because you didn't have black quarterbacks back in the 60s and 70s, So I remember one time that he had thrown an interception, and somebody from the stand said, "Get him a watermelon, maybe he can throw it better," Then he turned around and gave everybody the finger. And
You can still find some of their accomplishments in the UVA record books, but the ones of which they are most proud are earning their degrees and making those around them rethink what they thought they knew about African Americans as players and as students.
But after you get away from it and then start to look back and reflect, you understand what that really meant. That was a big event in the history of UVA.
We were groundbreakers. I think that people appreciated how we carried ourselves while we were here at UVA. All 4 of us graduated, and we went on to do pretty successful things. We were pretty successful.
Our 3rd year, he said, "John," he said, "I didn't know what to expect, when they said blacks were coming," he said. And I had to call my parents liars because of the lies they told me when I was coming up about black people. He said, "You all proved to me that, all of the stuff that our parents tell us was a bunch of crap, and I want to apologize for that." for my thoughts. And I said, okay, well, if we did nothing else, maybe we, showed a few people that what blacks really are.
Merritt led the Cavaliers in rushing in 1971 and 1972. That latter season, he played with a quarterback named George Allen, who would go on to be both governor and senator from the Commonwealth. UVA does have plans to honor these four publicly, but they will do so when COVID restrictions are more relaxed and they can be presented in front of a full crowd at Scott Stadium. If you would like to nominate someone to be profiled, email us at beyondtheroster@WTVR.com.
The small but devoted fan base to the sport of archery in Richmond has been working for years to get their national championships to come to town. This year, it's finally happening. Hundreds of archers from across the country will set up shop between 50 and 70 meters away from more than just a target, from a chance at making history.
That it's an individual sport that we can completely control ourselves, and yet it's also a sport where you don't do it alone. You're around other people. You can have even a team, even if you don't really compete for each other.
There are 3 bow styles in which to compete and several different age groups for both men and women. Preston Curry will be competing right in his own backyard in a sport he picked up only 3 years ago.
I like going to the range, also do trap shooting as well. So I think it kind of falls in line. So the rush, enthusiasm, and of course the target. That's pretty much the common bond for me. It's exciting.
A lot of the people that come to archery are disenfranchised with other sports. They realize they can't do soccer, or they're no good at running, so they can't do this or something. And this is something that everybody can do. Everybody can do this.
In a way, Preston is disenfranchised with other sports.
That was productive.
But not of his own doing. 25 years ago, Curry, who is a U.S. Army veteran, suffered a spinal cord injury in a car accident. He considered himself an athletic person, but that accident changed the way he stayed athletic.
Injury is kind of like the reason why I participate in so many sports, and just staying active. That's like number one for me. That looked like it was higher.
Move your finger to the front, then aim. And also the fact that it is so adaptable, so people like Preston are able to participate in a sport that is an Olympic sport, and it's something that he can do. And just about it, we have lots of people with various disabilities that actually come out and shoot archery.
Much like anything else,
Wow, that was high.
one of the hardest things for people with disabilities is to take the first step towards being active and accomplishing a goal.
So this is my very first time using this site.
For Curry, archery has become that first step. And through the help of the people at the VA and with Sportable, it's improved his entire quality of life.
My injury has made me even more confident. I've always considered myself a confident person, but
Good. That was nice.
being able to participate in adaptive sports
Keep that in mind, and that'll help you not have those shots that go wild.
has definitely elevated my confidence, and it's helped me to have a much better quality of life.
When we first start working with archers with a disability, a lot of them think that they can't do it because, I can't possibly shoot a bow. And then we figure out a way that they can do it, and it's just the light in their eyes, and they get so excited. The fact that, oh my gosh, I hit the target. They thought 5 minutes ago they couldn't shoot at all, and now they hit the target. It's very inspiring and exciting to see them do that.
It's hard, being disabled, in particular someone with a disability that requires a wheelchair. It's tough, you know what I mean? I feel like society has certain perceptions, attitudes, and beliefs about us, but I feel like that's our job to help change those perceptions. And this, this sport, archery, or any sport really, is going to help change that perception.
Anyone who has ever driven 95 South towards the Carolina line has seen the name Sadler in big letters and big lights all along the highway.
It's nice to have your name on the building, but
The name is omnipresent, and now so too are the brothers that made it famous.
I'm getting the job done.
Hermie Sadler has taken over day-to-day operations of his family business and manages 15 truck stops and travel centers, plus a host of other businesses in the Emporia area.
Well, between the oil company stuff we've got and then the stuff that my wife and I have on the side, faux show, the restaurant, the truck stop restaurant, IHOP and others, we got about 300 employees.
And just a long fly ball away from his office is the Top Hand Sports Academy,
Shoulder rotation.
which younger brother Elliot now helps to run.
And then when kids get out of school, they come in and we're ready to rock and roll. And we're doing that, 6 days a week.
Some 360 kids come to Top Hand each week for baseball lessons, after-school programs, and tutoring, a number which has tripled in the year and a half
When you do 5, we bag up.
since Elliot became involved on an almost full-time basis.
I coach actually right now 7 different ball teams. Between now and August 1st, I'll have scheduling, practicing, games, all of that for 7 different teams between now and then.
The brothers made their name in racing. Hermie was the 1993 Rookie of the Year in what's now known as the Xfinity Series.
I've been wanting to win here for a long time, boys.
Elliot had 17 wins in NASCAR's Top 3 Series. But for the first time in almost 3 decades, the NASCAR season will begin
Quick feet.
without a Sadler either driving in or reporting on races.
When I wake up in the morning and I'm not ready or excited to go to the airport, to get on the plane, to go to the racetrack, then I don't want to do it anymore because that will come across on TV. The day after Homestead, when they sent me my contract to look at, I just told my wife, I just feel like I don't want to do this anymore, and I couldn't be happier with my decision.
I think as a race car driver, you're always scared, what are you going to do next? Man, if you don't have NASCAR, or you don't have the trout, what are you going to do? But I have found another way to fulfill my life.
They are now around a lot more for their children and their wives, whom they both credit with shouldering a majority of the parenting load while they were on the road each week. Not that their new accessibility hasn't needed a little getting used to.
Angie's got a little Yorkie dog, Sadie, that has been sleeping in my spot in the bed for 23 years, and she does not like the fact that I'm at home every night, and it's a real problem.
Right now, I have turned the page in my life to my focus right now is getting these kids ready for ball season, getting these kids ready for the after-school programs that they're involved in, making sure their homework's done, they're getting an education, all the positive things I can do.
Since walking away from his TV job as a pit reporter in the Truck Series,
How you doing? Hermie, nice to meet you.
Hermie has taken a more hands-on approach to managing all of his family businesses, on which a growing number of residents in Emporia depend.
I know a lot more now about, what it takes on the business side and all the people. You look at 300 employees with, you got a spouse, that's 600. You got a kid, that's 1,000, 900. It's so many people that are dependent on decisions that we make every day. And I've learned to really appreciate our customers a lot more.
All right, go ahead.
Elliot is working to prove that kids, especially athletes, don't have to leave their hometown to get opportunities to advance in their chosen sport. Opportunities that can extend beyond sports as well.
I made it on the big stage as a professional race car driver for 23 years coming from Emporia. I think kids in this part of Virginia deserve the same opportunity. It's fun that people told me that I was making a mistake when I first began, that I needed to do travel ball in a big city. I couldn't do it in a small town. I couldn't do it in my hometown. It's fun that people challenge me like that. I love that. And it's cool to see the kids in our area excelling in what they're excelling in right here in Southside Virginia.
And you hope some of the lessons they learn now is going to make them, male and female, boys and girls, going to make them much better contributors to society in this area, and we need that down here.